You talked a lot about like the how like when you were in Poland and you kind of realized that you know you got to kind of like change what you were doing. But I guess I kind of missed the first part. But I guess so. I apologize if I'm kind of adding a repetitive question here. But you said you were like in the telemarketing business, like telecommunications for
Yep, telecom.
now you're not
Yep.
anymore, but you were. Just like how was that process for you? Like because obviously like when you're like 11 or 12, you're never gonna think I'm gonna be in telemarketing or telecommunications. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, was it more? I mean, I know you said like obviously you were
It was
successful
luck.
at it, but
No,
I
it
mean,
was luck. It was luck of choice. The choice so that the job that I had, and this is what's ironic about it, because it ended up being a lucky choice. And I believe in luck, but I also believe in people. Whatever they had, the harder I work, the luckier I am. It's like the Jack Welch thing. I kind of believe in that adage. Um, but with telecom, I just happened to pick a company, Bell Atlantic, that I wasn't thinking about all the transformative opportunities of telecom. It was just, hey, this is a great job. I'm going to get great experience, and the telecom aspect of it was secondary. My it's honestly, if I were to apply the advice I would give to my own kids and to you guys, if you're trying to think about being an entrepreneur, I would almost say that was a it was a lucky choice because really on the surface it was a bad choice for somebody who wanted to be an entrepreneur because it was an industry at the time that really didn't couldn't be a launch pad for your own idea. Like working for if you, one of the things I try to advise people on, if you want to start your own business, get into a business that's in an industry that you could actually start a business in. If you get into an infrastructure heavy business like telecom or utilities, I'm not going to, I mean, I never thought I could, it would be crazy at the time to think that I could start my own telecom business. So that was lucky that way. It just happened that the industry transformed so much that there were opportunities everywhere. So if I were to be more intentional about it, I would have picked a company in an industry that I could learn something from in 2 years, and it would at least give me some experience to do my own thing. And that's what I try to advise people now. It's like either sell out and get your not sell out, hold your nose, get the experience, the best experience you can at whatever company you can that's functional. If you're trying to get functional experience, but if you're really trying to find a launch pad to do something on your own, something software related, I mean, something consumer products is also pretty hard, but food technology, and a lot of technology uh, companies that don't have huge barriers to entry are good landing spots. So it's a good question, but it was luck for me, honestly.
and honestly, it's like a mini follow up if I can about that
Yeah.
question. I mean, what you just said is because I know you said like how you became successful and stuff like that, but and you enjoyed the work. But how much was that? As you were growing as I don't know if it's like a person, but as also like a business, professional. Do you think it's more of like a causative or correlative like experience? Like, does like the success make you enjoy the job, or is it more not really exactly that? I mean, I don't. I'm just like more so curious because
Yeah, no,
obviously,
no, it's so what I learned. I also I was pretty quantitative. I mean, I was an econ math major, so I was quantitative. I approached the world from an analytical perspective, and I thought like I wanted to be more of an operator. Like I always thought, I just want to be a general manager. I want to operate. I like people. That's what I'm really good at. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be the person in the corner doing the numbers. But that was always what I was good at. Like, and that, so on a team, I just naturally ended up being the quant person. And then that led to being the finance person. And I had no interest in doing that work. So I kind of, early part of my career, I loved the process of helping start a business. And I loved the exhilaration of actually creating something from whole cloth. I didn't always like my role in it initially. So, but at the same time, it's like I became really good at it because I was the person that I became good at raising money because I was a numbers person, and I can't say I loved it. I like the challenge of it, but it was more of a necessity to help be part of a team to build a business. And it was later on in my career that I realized, I actually do like numbers, and I never wanted to be the numbers person. I'm honestly not that detail oriented. Like a lot of CFOs or accounting people that, my own self criticism was I'm not detail oriented enough to be a CFO. But that was what helped me was at some point I realized that the things I did, even though they're kind of quantitative and numeric and kind of financy that don't seem creative, they actually are very creative. Like a lot finding the way to take your skills, and even if they don't seem like they're really contributive to the creative process, they a lot of most everything is. So on the financial side, I found myself really building the skill and an ability to help architect products and architect outcomes for businesses, because I would look at things through a financial lens and say, okay, this makes sense. I like the product. Customers like it. I mean, yeah, this seems like a great idea. But if we want to, if we want to make money, how do we get to this? Like, how do we get to the 50% margins? And then can you creatively kind of help engineer the business to get there? So at some point, I think it turned for me where I'm like, okay, actually, I like the work. I don't like to be pigeonholed. I don't really like closing the financial books on the accounting. I mean, it's just a necessary part of the job. But all of that work that I did, actually, I kind of learned how to make it creative, and I just embraced it. At some point, I just capitulated and said, people are going to look at me as a finance geek, and that's okay. That's kind of my role as a startup co-founder. And I approached the startup world from that. Even now, people would say, Mike's a finance guy. You want to raise money, you need a CFO, that's Mike. I look at myself as much broader than that, but that's my entry point to any company. That's the initial value that I have. But once you get into engage with a team, everybody's interchangeable. Like, I feel like I can contribute as much on the marketing and the operation side, but my entry ticket is I'm going to help you on the financial side. Just like people who come in on the sales side can do a lot on a lot of different areas. But that's what I love about small startups is everybody at some level is interchangeable. But you're going to find your like pigeonholed either because other people put you there, or you're going to gravitate to certain areas. I think it's really important that you find the one thing in a startup team that you're really good at. But be able to do kind of everybody else's job at least at a B level. That's kind of that's the other kind of mentality that I developed is B plus work at a startup is actually good. You need to know when to get A's on a few things, and you have to accept F's, D's, and F's on a few things because you just can't get everything done. But it's okay if you drop them. But if you're kind of hovering around at kind of B plus work on most everything you're doing, you're going to keep yourself sane. If you're a perfectionist who needs to get A's on everything, startups are going to make you miserable because so much happens outside of your control. You have to kind of drop your threshold for perfection. But yeah, it's a good question. I ended up just functionally developing a skill set that was really valuable to startups, but it was kind of in a unique path, and I learned to embrace it later and learned to use it as a creative tool rather than, oh shit, I got to be the finance guy again. Let's just kind of get through this. But I enjoy it now. I didn't always enjoy it.
Yeah, so with that, I think we're nearing the end of the meeting, guys. So really appreciate your time once again. And thank you so much, Mike, for coming on. That was a great, great interview.
What I will tell any of you, I mean, I do a lot of work with students. I think most of you all are there any seniors here? Yeah, Luke, I know. I mean, I do a lot of work with students who are trying to get into startups. Interns, like when you get to your sophomore, kind of junior year, I'm happy to help kind of strategize how you can find a good match. I think it is great. I mean, there are pros and cons of starting your first job with a startup, but I'm happy to work with any of you guys to talk through that and even help kind of match you. There's a way to get hired by a startup that I think I'm pretty confident in. So if that's interesting to you, just reach out to me. Do you have my schedule? I'll make sure. I know Eli, you have it. You probably have it too, Julian. It's kind of my LinkedIn, or not my LinkedIn, my Calendly schedule. Anybody can schedule that, and it's got a Zoom link, and I'll show up for a meeting if you want it.
Yeah, I'll make sure to send it along. So yeah, I encourage you guys to reach out to us at Spider Ventures. And encourage you guys reach out to Mike Page. He's also an entrepreneur in residence and an entrepreneurship professor. So be able to help you guys out. Last few things I want to go over before we end the meeting. Next week is our pitch competition. So I really encourage you guys to bring an idea. Even if you don't think it's that great, I still definitely want to hear it. Because you can speak to Dean Quinones, John Fayea, and Dr. Olivia Arrington. They're all great, great people. So I encourage you guys to bring an idea for that. In 2 weeks, we have our venture capital private equity panel, so show up for that as well. I'll be giving you guys more details in the next few days. So thank you guys so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. Stay after if you have any questions. And thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Mike, again.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Thank you.